guys, Maggie here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about skin irritation and one of the ways that we can fix it with ostomies. And it's pretty straightforward, but I'll show you how to do it with my own stoma, so just warning, you are going to see some intestine, but most of the people watching this video probably see their own intestine every day. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but just warning you. So one technique that a lot of people use in wound care is called the crusting technique. And it's more generally used with like a diaper rash or something along those lines. We do it all the time at the hospital with our babies that have really bad contact dermatitis, diaper rashes. So it's not a brand new thing, and it's definitely been used with ostomies before. It's just kind of lesser known to be used with ostomies because of what you have to do with it. Tends to make bags not stick as well. But I'm going to tell you how I do it and how I most of the time get my bag to stick, even though I'm creating this massive amount of gook on my peristomal skin. So two reasons that people can get skin irritation with their ostomies is either the contact dermatitis that we just talked about, same thing with babies' diaper rashes. When you have the effluent or the output leaking onto your skin, it's very irritating. It has a ton of enzymes in there trying to break stuff down, and now it's on your skin. So obviously you're gonna get some redness, some irritation, some skin weeping even, and that's just one of the reasons that we can get some skin irritation. Now another reason that ostomates can have skin irritation is due to the skin being wet for too long or too long a period of time. And basically that can be due to leakage, or it can be due to swimming and not drying your bag off. Or why I get it and why I have the most skin irritation is when I shower, the fabric around the flange of my bag stays wet for a long period of time. And it's not related to the season or anything like that. It tends to be when I am entering colder months and wearing like more layers, so stuff gets trapped. You know, there's not as much airflow to my stomach. And then it also happens when summer begins because I'm more sweaty and it's hot out and the skin is damp. So that's kind of when I'm getting this issue. But that is another reason why people can have skin irritation. I find that with both of these reasons, the crusting technique is very beneficial. It's what I use to clear up my skin. And I also, another thing that I have noticed with this technique is it gets rid of the pain almost immediately. In fact, I just changed my bag, so I'm going to show you what my skin looks like right now. And the reason I changed my bag and filmed it was because it was painful and my skin was weeping, or it was like leaking sort of a clear fluid. And that's what happens when the skin gets really bad. So I wanted to change my bag because I wanted to get rid of that pain and also get rid of that icky drainage, which it did right away using this technique. Now, wounds in general are all pretty common and can be treated, you know, pretty similarly. The difference between a diaper rash compared to peristomal skin rash is that once you're done treating it, once you're done putting the medicine on or whatever you're doing, you have to get adhesive to stick to it. Whereas with the diaper rash, you don't need to do that. Like, you're just putting on a diaper. So that's kind of the issue, is that it's very difficult to treat a rash with cream medication or powder medication because you have to get the bag to stick afterwards. And if you don't get the bag to stick, then you're gonna have leakages and you're just going to add on top of the already there skin irritation. So you gotta work around it somehow. The technique I'm gonna talk to you about is kind of to create a scab, like a artificial medicated scab on top of your skin. It both protects the skin from future irritations, whether it be dampness or output, but it also helps to absorb any moisture off of the skin. It pulls it away. So it's very helpful with both causes of irritation, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. And I know that a lot of people probably already know this technique, but I'm gonna show you how I personally do it. and it seems to work for me. So we are going to take a look at my stoma, and you can see my skin looks awful. I tend to get these little lesions on the outer part. It's not even on like near my stoma. It's on the outer part, and that's where the fabric sits. That's where the wet fabric sits on my skin. So that's why I have all these issues, particularly when I start wearing heavier clothing and more layers. It's just what happens. But the first step that I take, and this is the step that you should check with your physician first. Don't just go and do this. Don't go to the store and buy this. Check with your doctor first. I did this with my GI, and this is what he told me. I get a little bit of hydrocortisone cream, 1%, and I just put a very small amount all around my skin. This helps with the inflammation that I tend to have along with this issue. So I put that on first, and of course your bag isn't going to stick if you just put on cream. You need to do some layering in order to get the bag to stick over this. My next step is to use a skin barrier. You can use a spray, you can use a wipe, whatever kind, and just cover up whatever medication that you've put on ahead of time. That is going to be your first layer of skin barrier, and this helps create a sticky surface for powder. Powder is going to be the answer to absorbing all that liquid, that wetness, and pull it away from the skin. But powder tends not to stick anywhere if it's on dry skin. So before that skin barrier dries, you're going to want to put a little bit of powder on. The way that I do the powder, you'll see I'm tipping the open end downward to get the powder to the tip, and I'm just gently squeezing the bottle onto my skin. And you'll see there are some thick clumps, and it doesn't look good. These thick clumps, you can't have it on your skin. Your bag will not stick to that. The powder is going to break open, just like if you were baking with flour. You have to break up all the clumps of the flour, or else the recipe goes bad. So same thing with this. You just want a very thin amount of stoma powder. And honestly, I haven't noticed a difference between stoma powders. They all work the same to me. So I'm just using the Bravo one because that's the one that I could find and it was closest to me. So I'm just putting a very thin layer. And the way I do this, if I do get a large clump of powder on my skin, you see that I tip the bottle upright again and slap it on my hand a little bit. This gets all the powder to the bottom of that bottle. That way, on the top of the bottle, there's air. So if you hold it upright like that and squeeze it, you're just going to be blowing air onto your skin, and that's what you want. You can use this to blow that extra powder away. Some people will say use a little bit of gauze, use a Q-tip or whatever to get rid of that extra powder, but I don't like to do that because that can totally ruin the layers that you've already created of skin barrier and powder. Don't do that. I would say use air. It's the best way to get that thin coating but still keep all of your layers intact. So once you do all of this, you need to do another layer of skin barrier, and this skin barrier needs to be good at creating a flat surface. So I'm going to show you two ways. I have a spray and I have a wipe. With the spray, super easy, super simple. Just spray it on top of the powder, and that will lock in that powder and create a flat surface that isn't kind of like dusty, because if your skin feels dusty and you can feel particles coming up on your fingers, your bag isn't going to stick to it. And when you use a spray barrier, it really just covers all parts of that powder and makes such a great surface for it. I also wanted to show you how you would use a wipe type of skin barrier. So for this, you would have to dab on the skin barrier very gently. You don't want to do it too hard because you can wind up lifting off your layers. But you want to do it very gently and just press on top of the powder that you've put on. And that way you get a layer of skin barrier covering all of your hard work, and your bag will stick to it. Now I find that by doing all of this, it really helps my skin. In fact, I've seen my skin heal in as little as 2 days with this. and immediately it gets rid of the pain. I feel so much better now that I've changed my bag and done that. Yeah, so I find that this technique works really well, and I've been using it since pretty much I've gotten my ostomy. The only additional step that I've done is the Hydrocortisone Cream, just to help kind of defend off any inflammation that is coming my way. This video that I filmed showing how bad my skin was only an hour or so ago because my skin was getting so painful. But I feel so much better now that I changed out the bag and I added the powder in, added the Hydrocortisone Cream, so I know that my skin can heal. If you guys have any questions about this or anything else, you can reach me at LetsTalkIBD@yahoo.com. And I'm also on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I know, Holly. I know. My dog is here. She's like, stop making videos. Let's go play. I know, Hol. But you can reach me at any of those, and I will see you guys later. Bye.